When people hear South Central Los Angeles, they often think of one story: violence.
11 people gunned down in a drive-by shooting. One of the victims dies. A 5-year-old boy is among those hurt.
Gangs.
You know what I'm saying? They already know. You know, I'm a young person who born there around the 30s. You know, I'm that nigga around here. My young niggas. My young niggas right here. My young niggas. I'm an infant. My name Bucket Truck. That's to say it all.
But the real story is much deeper, richer, and more powerful. This is a community built on struggle, soul, and resilience. Welcome to South Central, where history meets hustle.
Kev Mac video, you know, this is for sure.
Kev Mac video.
Open your soul, represent your ghetto, baby.
Kev Mac video.
You know, this is for sure. Kev Mac video. Open your soul, represent your ghetto. Hold up. For the dime moves and the lokes, for the 6-4s on spokes, for the OGs that did a dime, came back around on parole.
By 1920, the term South Central Los Angeles was used to refer to the vibrant black community bordered by Washington Boulevard to the north, Vernon Avenue to the south, Central Avenue to the east, and the 110 freeway to the west. Today, you still hear young residents debating if the 110 freeway actually separates the east side from the west side. The answer is no. Main Street generally serves as the east-west dividing line for postal addresses and street numbers. Anything west of Main Street are considered west side addresses. Anything east of Main Street is considered east side addresses. Once home to working class white families in the early 20th century, South Central changed dramatically as African Americans moved in during the Great Migration. By the 1940s and 50s, it became a cultural hub for Black Los Angeles, full of jazz clubs, small businesses, and a strong sense of community. But systemic racism, like redlining and segregation, forced black residents into limited areas. Resources were restricted, opportunities denied. Still, the people endured, and a new culture thrived. During the 1950s, the term South Central Los Angeles began to be used more widely and geographically as blacks began moving further south along Central Avenue and further west across the 110 freeway. 60 years ago, tensions boiled over in Watts, a community in South Central, after years of police brutality and economic neglect. The 1965 Watts Rebellion lasted 6 days.
My parents moved to LA. My mother and my father moved here in 1969. So I moved here with my wife, Sharon.
Where did your parents land at? Where did they first live when they came to Los Angeles in 1969?
They lived in the jungles. But the jungles were different then. The jungles were like, for us, when there was a lot of people coming from Kansas City out to LA then, in the late 60s, early 70s. It was well taken care of, you know, a lot of beautiful shrubbery. Most of the apartments, you couldn't have kids. There was no graffiti. I used to walk through the alleys in the jungle at 3, 4 o'clock in the morning, going to catch the bus up on Adams and go to my job at night out at the USC hospital, County USC. It was a serene time in LA. I was like, we thought of LA as a big old country town, because it was not that threat.
Fast forward to 1992, the Rodney King verdict sparked another uprising. Centered in South Central, it was frustration, decades in the making, coming to a head. These weren't just riots, they were wake-up calls, cries for change from a community that had been ignored for too long. But South Central isn't just a place of pain. It's a birthplace of expression, of art, and of voice.
South Central was the first movie to put it on the line and mention actual gangs and say Hoover Deuce. I always said it like this. I was really admired, even though, I'm a naturally go with my father's movie, but I was admired South Central over all those other movies because those other movies never mentioned anything about where they was actually from. OG Bobby Johnson threw up the deuce and said Hoover Deuce.
I got you.
You feel me? You know what I'm saying? Where was Doughboy from? He never said cuz once, even when he got angry. You mean to tell me ain't no Crip when they get angry is gonna say cuz? You know what I'm saying? OG Bobby Johnson said cuz. Ray Ray said cuz. All the different characters in South Central. And the biggest thing that South Central differentiates itself from Boys in the Hood, Boys in the Hood have no message. What was the message? South Central, OG Bobby Johnson went to prison and changed his life from becoming a Muslim. What was the message in What was the message in Boys in the Hood? Doughboy got killed. Movie over. Ricky should have not went down that alley. You know what I'm saying? He was going to USC. Got killed. It was no message in Boys in the Hood. There was no message in Men's Society. What's the message in? Somebody tell me what's the message in Men's Society? He was about to go to Atlanta and got killed trying to protect the baby. There was no message in none of those movies. South Central was the first movie with a message. And the first movie, gangbanger movie that mentioned actual gangs that was from LA. If you was from LA and you didn't know, you don't think, when I went to college in Oklahoma, people weren't talking about Hoover Deuce. I went to Langston University. It was hoods that was started over parts of South Central, as far as the Hoover Deuce and stuff like that. I think my father did an excellent job, but
we knew the impact. You know, I'm a major in speech communications. I knew the impact that movies, that this symbolism could have on these traditions that we were trying to change.
What was the box office sales on that movie?
Almost nothing. I was looking at that today. You know, what happened though was this. The movie was supposed to come out before April 29th, 1992. And before April 29th, 1992, South Central didn't mean anything to somebody in Iowa, in New York. It wasn't like Harlem or anything. It was innocuous. But then, by the time the uprising on April 29th, 1992 came out, where Warner Brothers was going to put the film on, I think, 1,500 or 3,000 screens, they had a backlash from movie house owners because they said they were going to have more security. So instead of 1,500 or 3,000 screens, it came out on 78 screens.
But there was a cult following for South
Oh yeah, but the video. But after the movie came into video, it sold something like 50,000 videos at $66 each to the video stores in a week because there was so much demand.
MCs such as Ice-T, Ice Cube, Tolly T, CJ Mac, and Nipsey Hussle sensationalized the harsh realities of Los Angeles street and gang culture. From the sounds of NWA and Kendrick Lamar to the murals that speak louder than words, South Central has always found a way to tell its story. Crenshaw Boulevard is more than a street, it's a stage. Leimert Park, a cultural gem, has been home to poets, musicians, and visionaries for decades. Some of the most historical monuments in South Central Los Angeles include the Lincoln Theater, the Dunbar Hotel, LA Memorial Coliseum, University of Southern California, West Adams, the Watts Tower, the Shrine Auditorium, the original Wrigley Field, the LA Sports Arena, the Crenshaw Wall, Holiday Bowl, Exposition Park, Jefferson Park, Leimert Park, the Slauson Swap Meet, and Mavericks Flat. Despite its richness, South Central still faces serious challenges: gentrification, underfunded schools, and ongoing policing issues. Many longtime residents are being priced out. the fabric of the neighborhood is beginning to shift. The question becomes, who gets to stay? Who benefits from revitalization? And how do we protect the culture while making room for progress? Through it all, one thing stays constant. The people, activists, business owners, teachers, artists. South Central is full of leaders, full of hope. It's home to movements for food justice, housing rights, and youth empowerment. Take a walk through the city and you'll see vendors and art projects on corners, and occasional block parties celebrating black and brown joy. The City of Angels isn't just survival, it's revival. South Central Los Angeles isn't a headline, it's not a stereotype, it's a living, breathing story of resistance and renaissance. So the next time you hear the name, look again, listen closer, because South Central is more than what you think it is. It's everything the news media never told you it is. Thank you for watching. If you learned something new, hit like, subscribe, and share the real story of South Central. Have a good day.
This is Los Angeles.